Hi, good evening. Can you all hear me? Just say yes if you can hear me. I can see a lot of good evening messages and people saying hello to all of you all. Um, I just want to know if you guys can hear me to begin with because that's the most important thing. Okay, so I think Rashi is saying yes. So Rashi, Farhan, Manshi, and Kartika, and Sheshu, yes. Okay, so it's great that you guys can hear me. Very nice. So good evening to all of you all. So my name is Rohan. I'm an IPS officer of the 2019 batch. I'm right now working in the designation of senior ASP, and I've come to join you guys on a live session because most of you all wanted to get a full year's perspective on how to prepare. Okay, so without getting into a lot of nitty gritties, I'll tell you what is an expectation from a candidate. Okay, so when you start preparing, the most important thing that you'll be facing is how, what, when, and where. Okay, so the first question is how to prepare. Okay, most important question. Everybody gets this wrong and everybody complicates it. The most easiest thing is first is NCRTs. Get yourself all the NCRTs. Pick up each and every book from class 6 to class 12th. It doesn't matter whether it's old NCRTs or new NCRTs. The most important thing is you study the NCRTs. Okay, so pick it up. Science, then environment, then history, then geography, then economics, polity, which is your political structure, and sociology. And please study everything word by word. Okay, so your 1 year plan should include your NCRTs. Okay, that's number one. Okay, if you don't do your NCRTs, believe me, you will not be able to study anything else post that. Take your NCRTs as a start, number one. Second, please do your newspapers. Okay, every single day, spend at least 1 hour's time to do your newspaper. Now, everybody has already asked me this question as to how to read the newspaper. The most important thing about reading the newspaper is to simplify it. Okay, please simplify the newspaper. If you are reading the newspaper, it should be in such a way that you should explain whatever you know to someone who's in 6th standard. Okay, imagine you're reading about the fiscal policy of the country, or about the budget, or about the raise of the taxation slab, etc., etc. These are very important things and are very complicated things. Okay, so in this circumstance, right, you have to simplify it, because there was a time when Newton said, okay, the true test of whether a person understood something or not is by in what simple way he can explain it to a child. Okay, so if you can do that, believe me, your preparation is on track. Okay, so please read the newspaper in such a way that you can understand it yourself and explain it to a small child. Okay, so that's how you have to read the newspaper. Now, along with this, please ensure that you enroll yourself into a good test series. A test series is very, very important aspect for you to understand how you are preparing. Now, you have to join a test series in which there are people from all across India writing. Okay, so in such a test series, you'll know whether you're standing first or second or last. So by doing so, you'll know exactly how to prepare. Okay, whether your preparation is right or wrong. Next, standard books. Now, your whole year you have to take your standard books, like for example Lakshmikant for polity. Now, Lakshmikant is a very, very big book. Okay, it's a very big book. It's almost about 1,000 pages. Now, how you're going to study the Lakshmikant? How I studied, I'll tell you. I broke down the book into several aspects, which is, first, I took about 30 pages a day, and then I studied it, consecutively over a couple of months, and then I was able to finish it. So once you finish your book, it will be very easy for you to revise it. Okay, so that's when you can revise it. So now, I'm getting a lot of questions right over here. I can see someone called Divya saying how to choose optional. Now, choosing optional, okay, I'm just going to break in and tell you, choosing optional is very important. Now, how to choose optional is based on previous year's marking. Okay, like for example, if PSIR or anthropology is doing well from many years, then you please have to choose that option. Second, availability of material. Okay, if there are notes available in the market, choose an optional like that. Third, how scoring has been. Okay, so with these aspects in mind, you have to choose. And lastly, you have to choose whether you are interested. Okay, so if you are interested in the optional, you should definitely choose it. Okay, so that's how you're supposed to choose an optional. Now, I think Dhananjay is asking me what are the book for governance. Now, see, book for something like governance, you don't really need a separate book. Okay, if you can read the newspapers well, then half of your problems are solved. Okay, because most of the questions that will come from this is very, very good. Okay, so you please have to ensure that you will read your newspapers well, and it will suffice for governance. Okay, I think Rashi is asking me whether history option is good for Hindi medium. I'm not sure about this, so it would be a little difficult. A lot of you all are asking me questions. It's very nice. How to get right guidance from seniors or others? Okay, Himanshu, this is very, very important question, Himanshu. Now, when I was preparing in my second attempt, when I failed my second attempt in my prelims, I was very fortunate to have a senior who helped me out. Okay, so he was also preparing and he knew exactly what he was doing. So I sat with him every single day. I studied with him every single day, and I wrote test series with him. He used to correct me when I used to go wrong. Similarly, in my third attempt, when I was also studying, I had a really nice senior to help me out. We wrote mains together, and then we prepared for everything together. So it helps to have a good senior. So how are you going to find them? Somewhere in the library, in a coaching institute, or in a place where other aspirants will meet. So you have to find. But you have to pick a senior who is very good, focused, and determined. Okay, you should not find someone who's wasting his time or who's wasting his energy or is simply arguing. Just sitting and saying, what? Okay, the policy is bad. This is good. Nothing like that. None of that stuff. His focus should be to study, and your focus should be to study. Okay, so now Harshini is asking me what books other than NCRT. See, the most important thing is NCRT, okay? So you have to focus on it and there is no substitute for it. Okay, so Indu is asking me a strategy for essay and ethics. Now, essay, right, the most important thing that you need to do is you have to first take an essay, take a topic. Okay, like let's say, for example, take something like women. You have to first take all the perspectives, like take your GS 124 syllabus, break it down. For example, women historical perspective, women social perspective, women political perspective, women economic perspective, women international relations perspective, women science and technology perspective, women so on and so forth. So you get all these dimensions. Along with this, you have to put down all these statistics. Okay, and the easiest way to do it is first just type women empowerment or women in Google and then go to news. Or then you go to images. So you get all the statistics right there. You just write down roughly and that's how you will get. So same thing, do for women, environment, science and technology, economics, etc. etc. So that way you will be able to, optimize your ability to do a subject. You'll get enough fodder material, enough content, and then you can put them down in any essay possible. Ethics is quite simple. It's a very straightforward paper. Okay. You just have to know what each word means. There is no standard definition. So you can pick up any definition from anywhere and then you can easily write them in answers, and then you have to practice answer writing for your case studies. Okay, so I got another question from someone called Mr. Om Shetake. Okay, how to come out of distraction. See, the biggest problem with distractions, right? The only person that is distracting yourself is you. If you don't pull yourself out of it, then nobody else can. So you have to ensure that you tell yourself every single time, why am I studying? What is my goal? Why am I doing this? If I'm focused, then I will definitely be able to get myself out of the distraction. And second, please don't get in a faltu habit with your aspirants. I've seen so many people standing in tea shop and so on and so forth and just arguing. Yeah, ye cheez to theek nahi hai. I mean, or this is not good, this is not bad. People keep arguing about things. Don't argue. If someone's arguing, just leave the place. It's not going to help you. And all you have to know is you have to know content for the exam. You have to write the exam and you have to leave the paper and come back. Okay, you'll get your marks. You'll be an officer in Jai Hind. That's what's important. Someone called Kirtana asked me how to stay motivated. Again, like I said, you have to definitely, remind yourself why you started. Okay, so I'm going to get back to the studies part. Okay, so I told you, um, how to, prepare for your NCRTs and your prelims and your newspapers. I'll give you a small hint about note making. Okay, see, making notes is not really important because you can't make notes of everything. You can't make notes of NCRTs. So please don't make notes of NCRTs. Whatever, this was a question asked by Mamta also here. Okay, so I'm going to tell you. So whatever notes you want to make of NCRTs, please make them in the same book. Okay, in the same book, please make your own notes. The same thing should be revised and studied again and again and again. Okay, now for things like newspaper, what you have to do is, if you notice, okay, the same news will come again and again and again. So once you make it, okay, the same thing will repeat. So if you're making a news on perhaps ISRO or GSLV or about space launch, you have to once make, okay, so for example, GSLV, when it was started, when it was launched, what kind of payload, etc., etc. You have to make one note and you have to just compile it somewhere. So that's your methodology of making it. Then you have to do your test series, you have to focus on your CSAT. And CSAT again, see, for someone like me, I have no engineering background. I'm from, I did my law, so I have an arts background. So for that, it was a little difficult for me. But I focused on first doing English and then logical reasoning, and then I went to arithmetical reasoning. So this was the case during my time. So I hear that these days CSAT is more difficult. So if you need that help, then please get yourself some help by joining a coaching institute or an online class or something. Otherwise, if you can solve it yourself, then spend about 1 hour daily and then you will be able to do it. Okay. Okay, how to connect current affairs with GS papers is asked by Bharat. Okay, it's very simple. If you have a question in GS paper 1 about, let's say, art and architecture, about comparison of Dravida and, Nagara architecture. Let's say this is a question. And you read recently about a temple that is being excavated or being developed by ASI. So you can take that current affair, put it into this, and that's how you integrate both. So that's how you do it. So, economics, somebody is asking me, so economics NCRTs, and you can use, your Ramesh Singh, but again, I wouldn't suggest Ramesh Singh because it's such a big book. Instead, Mrunal videos on YouTube, they're very good for basics, so I think you can definitely use that. With that being said, coaching institute for current affairs, there's nothing like that. I think coaching institutes, focus on the whole thing. So whatever you think is helpful for you, I think that is what you should join. Someone is asking me that art and culture is difficult to understand. I mean, see, to be honest, for me, I really liked art and culture. It was very easy for me. So if you find it difficult, then I think you just got to pay more attention and read into the details. Okay, answer writing. So answer writing, again, is a part of mains. This is not something that you should focus primarily during your prelims days. At least that's my take on it, okay? So what you should do is, once you finish your prelims, you'll have 3.5 months. So once you have that time, you have to write perhaps 2 answers daily. So which means in about 90 or 95 days, you can write about 180 to 200 answers. So if you write that much, I think you'll be very, well on your way to completing it. Shivangi is asking me for history, what books, and geography, which books. So for history, I did all the NCRTs. Along with it, I did Ramesh Singh. Not Ramesh Singh, sorry. I did Spectrum. I did Spectrum, and that's about it. And for geography, I did your GC Leong and your NCRTs. So that was my strategy. Current Affairs magazine, someone's asking me. I did the magazines from Insights and I did the magazine from Vision. So that was sufficient for me for current affairs. I didn't do anything else. I didn't do Yojana, Kurukshetra, EPW, none of that stuff, okay? So my funda was simple. If I cannot revise it, I will not study it. Okay, and whatever I'm studying, I should be able to revise it number of times. Okay. Someone's asking about environment books. So for environment, I used Shankar IAS Academy's book on environment. That's a very good book, very very holistically written. So I think you can use that. Now, along with that, once you do your mains, you should ensure that you study for all your mains papers. So whatever sufficient study that you would have done for prelims would be sufficient to do your GS 1, 2, 3 paper, and 4 of course is a an ethics paper. An ethics paper, whatever lexiconal content that you might have studied, along with that, your case studies will be sufficient. Now your optionals. Okay, optionals again, like I said, it's based on your interest, your way to study, and what you like. Now for your optional, what you can do is you can take whatever subject that you please. Like for example, I had political science. I took that subject because one is I have a background in law and politics is an overlapping paper, and it also has many aspects of current affairs. So in totality, it covers about 70% of GS. So since this is there, I took political science and I could write it really well and I could pass that. So that is your scope for mains. Now, when you do all of this, right, you'll get a very good understanding. But see, every single time when I talk to aspirants about the syllabus and so on and so forth, everybody, the most important thing that I say is everybody's afraid of whether I'll fail. Believe me, failure is a part of this exam. Every year about 10 lakh people put an application for this exam, about 5 lakh people write the exam, and then so on and so forth. Everybody knows that. But I'll be honest with you, just about 2 lakh people in the whole of this country seriously prepare for this exam and write this exam. So let's say about 2 lakh to 1 lakh people write this exam, out of which about 10,000 people, which is about 1:10 or 1:20 maximum, 1:20 people will clear your first attempt. Then in that, about 3,000 people will go to interview and 1,000 people will get a rank. Okay. Now, of course, the odds are stacked against you. Even one seat out of 1 lakh is still quite a big margin. But you have to face that challenge and you have to write it, which is why, you have to understand that there's a lot of competition for this exam. So when there's a lot of competition for this exam, there's no way that you will be able to, get around it or get through it. You will definitely have to only, make the most of it, and then you'll have to go at it. So with that being said, I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to say. And if there's any other question, you can definitely ask me. Someone's asking me how my preparation journey was. I think I've spoken about it several number of times. So I started in the year 2016. I failed my first attempt. I couldn't clear prelims. I failed my second attempt. I couldn't clear prelims. In my third attempt, I cleared all 3 stages, and I could get into my first preference of service, which is the Indian Police Service. So that's my story. Atul's asking me whether I think coaching is important. It depends really. Having gone to coaching, I can tell you that I think in the first attempt you should not go to coaching. You should do one attempt by yourself, study everything, and once you study everything, and if you don't clear that attempt, then with all the knowledge go to coaching, and then you use all the coaching to your advantage. Okay, so if you do that much, it will be better. Again, like Jesse's asking me whether coaching is mandatory. It's not. It depends on you totally. So anyway, I think very nice to be talking to all of you all. There are about 600 to 700 odd people on this live chat, and it's very nice. We all need to work hard and spend a lot of time in understanding ourselves and about the exam and being brave and tackling it and then winning it, right? So by doing all of this, I think we'll all have desired success. So I wish you all the best, and God bless you. Jai Hind.